Hello everyone. A brief departure today from graphite pencils to talk about another subject that is near and dear to my heart. I began collecting manual typewriters just a bit before I began collecting graphite pencils, only just. And mercifully, I have quite a few less typewriters than I do graphite pencils. It turns out graphite pencils are much easier to collect. They're cheaper and easier to store. That's both the positive and the negative. But today, kind of a book report on this wonderful Manual Typewriter Repair Bible. And this comes in a lot of different editions that are specific to particular manufacturers and machines. This is more of the general, the basic repair manual that will work for lots and lots of varieties of manual typewriters. And I only just recently got this, and I wonder how I collected typewriters before I obtained this book. Look how big that is. When I saw this online, and I've seen it many times online, I had no idea how big this book is. It's a big book, big in lots of dimensions and big in content from what I can determine so far. Put out by Ted Monk, that is. I just like to add the Theodore. Editor T. Monk. January 2017. And I believe the Right Reverend Monk was a seminarian and maybe a minister of some stripe. I don't know much about that, but he has compiled this this typewriter repair Bible, sort of in a tongue-in-cheek mimicry of the Holy Bible. And I don't find that to be, as a Christian Bible appreciator, I don't find that to be off-putting or in bad taste. I rather think it's funny. So Ted Monk, good job on compiling this. It is full of this line art, this kind of cut and paste style art from yesteryear. And what I appreciate about this enormous book is, lots of things I appreciate about it, but it starts from first principles. And that's the thing about a manual typewriter, and he talks about that here in the introductory pages. With your iPhone or with your, increasingly with your laptop and things of that nature, these high-tech items that we rely on that supposedly displace the typewriter, it's all magic under the hood, right? You can't crack open your iPhone and see what's going wrong and repair that. The vast majority of us can't anyway. But with a typewriter, if you approach it with the right mindset, you can look inside and see what is going wrong when there's a malfunction. And you have a pretty good chance of repairing it if you understand the basic principles. And here, these basic principles of physics, sort of a refresher course before you start tearing into a typewriter. Information about levers and fulcrums and balances and things of that character. So I appreciate the beginning from first principles, pulleys and gears and such. And then eventually you get into the parts of the typewriter, what they're all called. It helps to have a common language. And there's these wonderful illustrations. I'm not sure where he got all these illustrations. I'd like to talk to him about that. I know some of this information came from government manuals on typewriter repair, because of course the U.S. government in wartime or in peace used a lot of typewriters. Do you hear that squirrel yelling at me? I'm apparently invading his territory. Notice also the spiral binding here. And the size of the book allows it to lay open easily on your workbench. So when you're working on the typewriter, here we see all the parts of the end of the carriage. And that's for a L.C. Smith, for an Underwood, Remington, Woodstock. Speaking of Remington, I'm trying to get a Remington typewriter whipped into shape for an upcoming event in Southwest Ohio in about a week. A type-in, and I hope to bring that big Remington, if I can get it cleaned up and operational. Hope to bring that with me because it's an unusual typewriter, and I am hoping for some help in identifying it and fixing a few quirks that it has. Detailed, labeled blow-ups in various angles that you can see how it's supposed to function. Remington Royal Underwood. But once you know the basic principles and what things are called, it makes it so much easier. How many pages in this? A lot. About 450, close to 500 pages in this repair manual. It's self-published through Lulu. I can highly recommend this. And if you're a typewriter appreciator or collector and you focus on a particular type, like Olympias or Smith Coronas, there are books specific to those makes and models that you may want to look into. Just chock full of this information, illustrated. I would enjoy looking through this even if I didn't collect typewriters, just because I love this sort of thing. Well illustrated. Absolutely fantastic. Maybe those of you who have subscribed to my channel just for the pencils, now suddenly this is scratching a part of your brain you didn't know existed, and you'll find yourself at estate sales and thrift shops looking for typewriter cases in addition to your other stationary items. Here in the back, a big illustrated guide to the tools of the trade for typewriter repair. Lots and lots of those. A guide to typefaces, so when you bring home a typewriter, find one in the wild, you can see what kind of typeface it has, what that's called. Some are more rare than others, and typewriter collectors will often be looking for specific typefaces that are rarer, more interesting, and will pay more for a machine that has a unique typeface. So, Ted Monk Manual Typewriter Repair Bible, I give it a thumbs up. Only had it for a short time, so I don't have any success stories yet to report in terms of fixing my own typewriters. Hopefully the Remington will be that. And let's take a look at that Remington while we're talking about it. I feel like I just saw a picture of my Remington here. Not exactly, but similar. All right, so a herky-jerky handheld. I didn't feel like resetting up the tripod again. Remington, this is essentially a Remington Noiseless typewriter, but my particular variant does not have Noiseless written anywhere on it. Usually that would be here, Remington and Noiseless. It says Remington here on the paper table, Remington. It has the little lever that moves the printing point closer and further away from the platen for various numbers of copies or to make fine adjustments in the print. It's filthy from sitting in a back closet for years, neglected. It's in beautiful shape. There's a little scuff here on this is a plastic covering, which is odd for this vintage of a machine, but there's a little scuff there I hope to be able to remove somehow. You can see the noiseless mechanism is a lot different than a normal type bar machine. Kind of thrusts it towards the printing point rather than swinging it up for a sharp smack on it. But unusual typewriter, and I was hoping to get someone more knowledgeable than me to help identify it. And why doesn't it say Noiseless anywhere on it? We'll talk more about this typewriter probably in a future video once I get it all cleaned up. If you are a typewriter appreciator, maybe you can look out for that. But this is the machine I hope to take to the Type-In next week in Southwest Ohio. We'll see. It's a big, heavy one. Probably a portable machine would make more sense to bring with me, but we'll see. Okay, so wrapping up, Typewriter Repair Bible, Ted Monk, the Right Reverend Ted Monk. Thanks for your hard work on that. I recommend it, folks. Get yourself a copy if you're a typewriter collector, appreciator, user. I neglected to get a copy of this for a very long time, and I wish I'd found it sooner. Thanks for watching this typewriter edition of Moving About and Manipulating Objects, and I hope to see you here again next time.